We also have YDT Property Developers, and that company specializes in property development and construction. We have YDT eBonds, and this company offers home loans, and they are bond originators. We also have YDT Real Estate Agents, and this aspect of the company deals with business buying, selling of property, and management of residential, commercial, and agricultural properties. We also have under the umbrella of YDT Group, we also have Nozipotlali Attorneys, and they deal with property transfers and bond registrations. So that, in a nutshell, is what YDT Group does. And I just want to ask, while we're here, that we all please mute our mics while one person is speaking. This will allow for everyone to hear properly, because sometimes we are able to hear the noises from your background. So please mute your mics. Those who are not aware, please also note that there's a comment section where you can post your question at any time during the presentation. You can also raise your hand if you would like, and I will note you. As Mr. Yabela presents, there'll be opportunity to ask questions in between. We do our best to keep these sessions to 1 hour maximum, and sometimes it goes over, but that is only because of questions that people ask. And you will see that when 1:30 comes, I will allow for people to leave, and if there are those who would like to ask more questions, we definitely do allow space for that. Please also look out in the comment sections. That's where we leave our links to our YouTube channel. We leave links to our Facebook accounts and other social media platforms. May I ask that everyone please mute their mics? Can everyone please mute their mics? We can hear the background noises from your side. Thank you. So please look out in the comment sections. That's where we leave links and emails if you'd like to be in touch with us somehow. There's previous sessions that have happened. Today marks 7 weeks since we've been offering these webinars. It has now been 7 weeks. We have uploaded them on our YouTube channel, and you are more than welcome to go there and look at them at any point. Right now, I'm going to give over to Mr. Yabela Tlali. He is the CEO of YDT Group, for him to start with today's presentation. Thank you. Welcome once again.
Thank you, Madam Tiamo. I want to welcome everyone this Friday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. And every week we change to a different, should I say, topic or subject. So please do tune in every Friday. Of course, sometimes you can't because of work commitments. We totally understand, which is why we then have opened a YouTube channel, so that we load every Friday, we load all that week's session, then you can catch up and watch it at your convenience. So today's topic is a very interesting topic that many people have been requesting that we do it. We have finally done it, and we are now about to get going with it. And today's topic is called, I will share the screen. This technology is giving its own stories, but I will continue in the meantime. Today's topic is, how do I pay off the bond quicker? How do I pay off the bond quicker? You have a bond, now you want to know how to pay it off quicker. There are many benefits and reasons that have to come with a bond. I just want to give a quick background of other topics that we addressed previously for everybody that may have missed or have not yet had a chance to go and watch our previous topics as well. So that everyone, we are on the same page, because I don't want anyone left behind today with this topic. We discussed about who to buy, when to buy, is it a good market to buy, who must buy, and different things, and what deal is the best deal for you, and how do you find the best deal. And we then concluded that the best deal, we call it a day one deal. And the day one deal is a deal that makes you money or profit on day one. Meaning, if you are buying through a if you are buying through a bank and you must pay a bank and you must pay everything, maybe it's a flat, you must pay the rates and taxes, you must pay your levies, you must pay your bond, of course, you must pay your water and lights if they are included there. But after all that has been said and done, you still are able to have money. And that is the day one deal that we are referring to. And those are the deals that we have been assisting people to work on. And that is the deal that we are referring to today. And we then, we also advise people that you must buy, our recommendation, mostly if it's an investment property, that you buy using somebody else's money. You buy using somebody else's money, and of course, in most instances, it is the standard normal South African banks that you can use to buy property, or use their money to buy from, because it only makes sense. You don't use your money, you use somebody else's money to make money, to buy an asset. We also defined what an asset is, and our conclusion was that an asset is not your house you live in. It is a property that is giving you income. That is what we are referring to as an asset. So the property you live in, we don't refer it to as an asset. It's still a liability because it's taking money from you. So an asset, and those are the things that we looked at. We also looked at us changing the mindset to be investor-based or to be investor-minded, so that when you think like an investor. When you are thinking about money, when you're thinking about what can I do, when you're thinking about the longevity, you think like an investor. You also do not, we also encourage you not to think in terms of how much is it going to cost me. That is a consumer's mindset, but you are forgiven if you still think like that. We encourage you to think, how much is it going to make me, regardless of how much it costs, because what matters the most is how much is it going to make me. It can cost you 1 million and you do not have that million, but if you are sure and you are guaranteed it's going to make you 100 million, I can bet you would move and shake, sell everything, do what you need to do to make sure you can make that 1 million. And that is the type of approach that we are encouraging that you take most when you invest in property. Lastly, we also spoke that this is the best time to buy. And it's not the best time to buy just for anybody or everyone. We encourage it's the best time to buy for people. We also listed the type of people you see in our previous webinars. We spoke about people who are market ready. In other words, you were ready for the market, because when we discussed that, coincidentally, there were also other debates apparently on Twitter and social media to say this is a trap. The banks are lowering the interest rates because they're trapping people, though it's the lowest in almost 5 decades, with economic climate being declining, with expected 7% shrinkage in the economy. So we addressed it to say we are encouraging the people who are ready to buy, who are speculators, who buy to sell, who are investors, and people who are tired of renting. You are tired of renting because currently today, most likely the amount of rent you pay, if you're to buy the same property that you are renting, you would most likely pay less, if not equivalent to what you are paying now for rent. So we also profile that, and we explain that for everybody to understand. Now, to the business of the day. Let's get going so that we still are able to keep in time. So how do I settle my bond faster? Okay. Now, I'm going to first paint a scenario. YDT Real Estate Agents is assisting Yabela Dali to buy a 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms apartment for 1.2 million. It's in a safe and nice upmarket suburb, just for his family. And he's going to do this through applying for a home loan through YDT Home Loans, as they've already pre-qualified him already. Now, let's have a look at how Yabela is going to handle this situation going forward. All right. And then here are the outcomes. He's bought the house, he was assisted. Now the banks come back, they've approved his home loan 100%. 100% approved home loan, meaning there's no deposit that is required for them to pay towards the purchase price. And of course, that was 1.2 million. And that is for 240 months, which is the standard period of 20 years for a normal bond, which can go up to 30 years. And then with the 7.5% interest rate, which is prime, which is 7.25 plus 0.5%. And then with bank initiation fees are included. Just like any credit that you take anywhere, there is always initiation fees. I'm sure most of us at some point, we did take some credit, mostly a personal loan at some point, or a credit card, and they said there was initiation fees. So with a home loan, it is no different. And this person is only going to pay a monthly premiums of or installment of 9,995 cents. Now, we're just going to touch again on what we touched previously. For the same property 13 months ago, a person would have been paying between 12 and 14,000 rand a month. So just because of the interest rates that are down now, it is at least 2,000 to 3,000 rand less that they're paying upfront. Okay, now we take it further. Now we're looking at how much is it going to cost Yabela to get this property transferred into his names. Then these are the estimated legal costs. Of course, estimated as the biggest term, because though there is a table for the attorneys to charge, but certain figures are not the same. Sometimes they give you discounts, sometimes there's no discount. Like if you check there at the fourth item on bond registration costs, there's an item called post, petties, FICA. There's other fees that are related there. So please take this as estimated. It is close, but it is not the actual amount all the time. Differs from attorney to attorney. Just like you would see it differs from doctor to doctor. Others would charge a medical aid rate, others would charge lower or slightly higher. So this is the estimated legal costs. So for bond registration costs, which is the attorneys, for those who did not watch previously, that are appointed by the bank to attach the home loan to the house, that process, that's what we call the bond. The amount of the loan you get from the bank is called a home loan. So a bond is the attachment of the home loan to the house, because the house is registered in your names, so that you are not able to sell the property without paying the bank first. Otherwise, we would all buy a property registered in my name, quickly sell it off, make 1.2 million and run away. And the bank would know. So they attach it. So this is the legal fees for that. If you check bank initiation fees, where there's 0, because they're already included in the amount that we looked at earlier. Sometimes the bank initiation fees are separate and you have to pay extra for that. And then the transfer cost. Now this is the attorney who's changing the names from Tiamo to Yabela, because Yabela bought from Tiamo. It must change to Yabela's names now. So the transferring, these are the transferring attorneys. So these are their costs, which is 23,460 plus the transfer duty. Now I'm going to explain the transfer duty quickly. We also touched it on a much deeper level on our previous webinars. A transfer duty, it is tax that is payable to SARS for every property that is being sold. Now, every year, the Minister of Finance makes a budget speech, and you will hear that they always say transfer duty is not payable for properties below this amount. For the current financial year that we are in, that amount is 1 million rand. So for 1 million rand and below, the transfer duty is not payable. Though the transferring attorneys still have to make SARS aware of the transfer, so that SARS can issue a certificate to say this property was transfer duty free. Now, this one is 1.2 million. So there is a transfer duty payable, and it is 6,000. Now there's a table, you can even Google it at SARS, a sliding table just for you to understand how it got to 6,000, is that for 1 million, 1 rand, up until 1,375,000, it is 3% of the amount that is above 1 million. So in this instance, the amount that is above 1 million is 200,000. So this 6,000 is 3% of 200,000. And the total estimated cost is 55,000. Now, previously we also addressed, because the questions would rise up to say, how then do I curb and see if I can absorb the transfer fees into the purchase price? Now, the banks deem it now is a fraud, but not legally, but fraud in terms of them now. They've deemed it as fraud for you to include transfer fees when you buy through a bond. So it is not illegal if you're buying cash, it's allowed, it's acceptable. But to include them when you're buying through a bond, that most banks, not every bank, most banks have declared it not to be be fraud for them. However, what we have suggested or recommended previously when you purchase, we have said at least purchase the property minimum 10% below value, minimum. Then in that way you absorb the cost into the property value, so that if you were to sell at value maybe 2 months later, you then do not lose the transfer fees. You understand what I'm saying? Because you would have paid them in. However, of course, at YDT, we help you to get the best deals as possible, as low as possible in most instances. So far, are there any questions at this point in time with what we have shared so far? Over to you, Madam Tiamo.
Thank you. So far, there hasn't been any question in the comment sections, and I haven't been seeing any hand that is up. However, I am going to still give time for everyone to now raise their hands or to either put their question in the comment section, whatever they may need to be asking. I also want to say welcome everyone. Those of you who joined us after welcomings were done, you are more than welcome. Please feel free. Also, you can ask questions at any point in between as Mr. Yabela is speaking in the comment section or through raising your hand. Thank you.
Going once, going twice, sold. Good. Let's go on.
Sold.
Next slide. Thank you. All right. Now, we are then going to get to the actual business of the day, which is the home loan and paying it less. Now, what you see in front of you is the home loan amortization. Amortization is just a schedule that shows you how your payments affect the balance or the total amount. Now, going back, you remember Yabela is paying 9,995 cents for a 1.2 million home loan. Now, the number, this is the months 1 and 2, and the next one is columns. The next column rather is payment amount. And then from there, we move over to, let me just put on a laser so that we can see it. Now we are here at a payment amount, interest amount, capital reduction, balance due. Now, please, I need you to focus on this next 4 or 5 slides. They're a little bit technical, so I don't want to lose anybody. Now here, this is 9,900, but you see here the installments are 9,800. The difference, which is about 49 Rand, it is because Yabela opted to include the bank initiation fees with his home loan. So here we are only on the table before you, we are only looking at the amount that is going towards the loan repayment itself, the home loan repayment. That 49 Rand is not going towards the loan repayment. It is going towards the bond initiation fees. So this is, so don't be confused by the two figures, but I wanted to explain so that we understand. Now on month 1, Yabela paid 9,851 towards 1.2 million. And the interest that the bank was charging on month 1, based on 1.2 million Rand, was 7,750. Now, that then only means only 2,101 Rand went towards the 1.2 million. The 7,700 was going towards just paying interest. That is why this amount is called capital reduction. So that means capital, which is 1.2 million, only was reduced by 2,101 Rand. Less the balance is now please excuse me, I'm not president. The balance is 1,197,899 Rand. Yes, I got it right. So which is why then the balance is that. It is 1.2 million minus 2,100. The rest of the money was going towards the interest. On month 2, Yabela is about to pay 9,851 or has paid 9,851. The interest, if you check, it is now different. It has dropped by 14 Rand. It is because on month 2, the interest is charged on this amount, 1,197,899 Rand. So it is charged from that. So that is why it is less. So the further the months go, you will see the interest amount becomes less, but that is not the focus now. The point for this slide is so that you can see how much interest goes towards the bond repayment as opposed to the amount that actually is going towards reducing the debt. If you check the amount paid and the amount that went towards the debt, it is basically only 21% that has gone towards the debt. All right, hold that thought. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, now I'm then going to show you on this slide in now detailing comparison. Now what we are going to do, we'll spend more time on this slide. On this slide, what then we are doing, we are now showing you the different possible payment options that you could use or you could do to reduce your home loan, and what would the results be with those options. Would they save you interest? Would they save you years? What benefits do they have? Or is it just a fallacy? Is it a myth? Because people have been talking a lot, many ideas, many things have been spoken about, and you've heard many things. All right, now, please follow the red cursor or the pointer. The repayments, remember, 9,995 cents. Then there is a monthly service fee that the bank charges. For any type of form of credit, there is a monthly service fee. In this instance, it's 69 Rand. So what is going to be deducted from my bank every month is 9,969 Rand 95 cents. Remember on the previous slide, only 9,851 was going towards the bond repayment. All right, now we go further down. Now the first line, it says additional payment. Now this first column is if you are sticking to the previous example I made in the previous slide. You are just paying what the bank is expecting you to pay every month, and you are just continuing what is expected of you. Now there's the monthly 9,969. There's a loan amount 1.2 million, and that 6,037 is that bank initiation fee, and then that would be your interest, and those will be the service fee for the whole time. And this is going to be your total amount that you would have paid back to the bank if you take the 20 years, 2.3 million, close to 2.4 million, which is almost double your initial bank loan. Let's look, here's the interest, 1.1 million on top on a 1.2 million bond. All right. Now, I'm sure you're getting some, and now you get to understand why the banks love bonds and how they make their money. Now we move over to the next column. This column is if now you're making an additional payment of 772 Rand 65 cents. How did we calculate this amount? We just calculated the interest rate. 7.75%. Remember, Diabella is being charged 7.5% by the bank currently for this home loan. Now, we then calculated that 7.75% of the monthly amount that I'm supposed to pay, just so that you can pay your interest rate extra. So this is the amount extra that you pay. So therefore, your monthly payment is now 10,742. Now with that, the loan amount, of course, still is the same. Look at the interest. It starts to drop. The interest moves from 1.1 million to 967,000. Already you are saving interest. Interest saved 206,000 by just paying extra the interest rate that you are being charged by the bank. Okay? The total service fees becomes less, and we'll explain why it becomes less, because the years also become less because you're paying extra. Then the service fee that you have saved, you've saved 2,400 on service fees. Now your total moves from 2.4 million almost to just under 2.2 million. All right. Now we take it another step further, where now you pay double the previous interest rate. So in other words, you pay the interest rate you are being charged, but multiply by 2. So now you are paying 1,542 extra, meaning your monthly repayment now becomes 11,501, which is still, in this current economy, still fairly lower than you would have paid 13 months ago. So you're still paying lower than you would have paid, but you are now helping yourself so that you can finish this bond quicker. Now the home loan, they're still the same at the beginning. Now the interest, all of a sudden, it's now starting to be, it's close to 800,000. Now it is 822,000. You have saved interest worth of 342 by just paying 1.5 extra per month. on your installment. Now you've saved yourself almost 350,000 on interest over the period of time. And then the total service fee you've saved is 12,000. I mean, it's the 12,000 that you're paying, you've saved 4,000. Now the total amount you pay back to the bank is 2 million, as opposed to 2.4 at the beginning almost. So now it's 2 million. And we'll look at NDAs now at the bottom. And then the last option that we have made just for the exercise for today is you are now have decided that I am going to pay double. I'm going to pay double than what the bank expects me to pay. You're paying an extra 9,969, meaning your monthly installment now becomes 19,939 and 90 cents. Now, who are the people who are able to pay here? Because somebody else might be thinking, no, but I maxed my affordability. I paid exactly. I took the bond that the bank has approved me or says I can afford. So how can I pay double? Now, there are different types of people that can pay double. The first person is the person who's buying an investment property through the bank, and you can afford to pay the bond. And your tenants are also going to pay the bond with your income. If you can also pay the bond, why not pay the bond yourself? Let the tenants pay the bond, you pay the bond yourself as well on top of it. That is the first type of person. The second type of person, we do not recommend in general at YDT that a person takes the full amount they qualify for. We do not recommend that because markets change. Because you leave no room for you to buy investment properties. Remember, our mission is simple: to create wealth and build legacies through property ownership. Now, you will not create wealth, neither will you build a legacy with just only one property. It will take the next generation a step further, of course, definitely a step further than a previous generation. But we want you to create wealth. So that means then you have to look into multiple property ownership, building a portfolio that we can assist you to build as well. So we then recommend that you take an amount, a bond as low as possible for your own family, for an amount, for a property that basically you need minimum. For an example, I'll make an example of somebody we have just assisted recently. Let's use these prices that are here on this for example purposes. This person could afford 2 million bond. Now, all they wanted was 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. That's the minimum requirement. Up until 2 million. With 2 million, you can even get 4, sometimes even 5 bedrooms with 3 bathrooms, a swimming pool, a big yard, northern suburbs. So you can get a whole lot more extra features with the same 2 million. However, at a higher price, because now you're getting the full 2 million bond. Then we took this person to a property that was 1.2 million. Let's take that example as well. We take the person to a property that was also 1.7 million. The other one was 1.6 million. Now, all of them had one thing in common. They met their minimum needs, which is 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Now, we eventually assisted them to go with, like I said, let's use the amount as an example, 1.2 million. Because then what happens is the 800,000 then can be used to buy extra investment properties that they qualify for. Now, it is that type of a person that can then be able to pay double the bond before they buy an investment property in the meantime. Because now they bought for less than what they qualify for, which is why before you buy anything, whether it being a house or a car, your first question should not be how much do I qualify for. You must first then check how much do I want to pay, or how much am I prepared to pay. In financial terms, or in the terms that we all speak of, we would say, what is my budget? What am I budgeting for this that I'm about to do? Because you will walk into a dealership and you will be there to be buying a 1.4 engine size car. When you walk in there, they tell you, no, man, you actually qualify for a V6 3-liter engine that will repair everything in front of you. And if you have not made that decision, you will fall for it and you will go with it. So that's one thing that we always also check. How much are you prepared to pay? What are your needs? And how much are you prepared to pay for this first? So these are the type of people that can pay this amount. So you pay, and anyone else, of course. If you're making more income on that property, you can take it all back and pay the extra to pay double. Now let's look at the difference that this makes. All right. Now your monthly repayment is 19,939. The loan is still the same at the beginning. The interest that you are charged is only 329,000. Moving from 1.1 million, now you're only going to pay interest for 329,000, which is if we calculate it percentage-wise, it's about 30% perhaps of your total bond. It's even less than 30% that you would have paid during this period. And at 30% is a percentage that you are charged annually for unsecured loan, which is your personal loans, your credit card, your overdraft and whatnot. Now, interest that you have saved, you would have saved 840,000 that you would have saved. You would have saved 800, I want to repeat that one. You would have saved 840,000 by just making a way of paying double, if you can, on your bond. Total service fees move from 16,000 to 5,000. You have saved 11,000. So not only are you saving on interest, you're also saving on the monthly service fees that the bank is charging you. And then there you are. Total, you only pay 1.5 million. Now, here is then what happens when you've done this. I'll go back to the example I just made now. This person buys this property for 1.2. I'll go back to the same example I was making. The property is for 1.2. We always try for the people to buy it much below value. So this person that we assisted, that property was valued for just over 1.4 million. So they are getting it for 1.2 million. If they pay double, they would have just paid just above value because the property is valued for 1.4 million. If they pay double, by the time they finish, chances are they would still be paying below the value of the property, including interest from the bank, using the bank's money, not their own money. And the time it takes when you pay double is 78 months. 72 months is 5 years. Is it 5 years or 6 years? 6 years. So it is just over 6.5 years. They've finished a 20-year bond. And now they own, or they do not owe the bank any money towards this. With all the savings, look at the months that they've saved. From 240 months, they have saved 162 months. So of course, they have saved 13.5 years of their lives, of their family's savings, of their children's investment, of everything by just paying double at the time going forward. I'm going to repeat and let it sink just for a moment. When you pay double on your bond, you only take 6.5 years on average to finish your home loan and your property is paid off. Now, a wise man once said, we overestimate what we can do in 1 year, but we definitely underestimate what we can do in 10 years. This person, in that space of 6.5 years, would be in a possession of the property that is fully paid up, that is worth 1.5 million in 6.5 years, by just focusing and paying double the bond. Of course, these are just the scenarios. One can choose in between, something in between here, between the double and the interest and double the installment. You can choose any other amount. Whatever you pay extra does bring down the bond. And that is why we always encourage pay extra at the time that you can. Now let's look at it in a graph so that we can see the difference in years. This blue one is the original, meaning you have taken 20 years, because here in the horizontals and in the verticals, I will not say the X and the Y axis just in case I expose my math results at school. The horizontal is the number of months or years that you've taken to pay. Then when you go vertical, it is now the amount of money that you are paying. Now, the blue one, which is the original, you've stuck to the original plan. You only paying the 9,959 rand 95 cents. Then you are gonna take the whole 20 years, 240 months. When you pay, like we had said, you just pay the interest you are charged extra not what you are charged by the bank, the interest rate that you are charged extra, then you're only taking just over 200 months to settle. When you're paying double the interest rate you are charged, you're taking just under 170 months. When you are paying double the installment, there you are. I wanted us to have a look at this so that we can start to think, plan, and look at this thing properly before we start making our monthly payments, and when we are doing so that we can see how then this can help us going forward. Now, what happens to the extra money? Here you are now, you are paying extra money, you are paying double, or you are paying double the interest rate, or you are paying the interest rate extra than what you are supposed to be paying. What happens then to the extra money? The extra money is converted to what is called an excess bond. Excess bond at YDT, for every person that is applying for a home loan, they are applying through us in-house. So what then we do, we apply for them for a facility in their home loan that is called excess bond. Excess bond simply means you have a overdraft, credit card. I don't know how you can call it. I'm just trying to use terms that somebody can understand it easier. But it's money that remains there. It remains in your bond or in your home loan account as extra. So you are creating savings. You are creating amount that is there, that is just sitting there. And secondly, you are now ahead. Let's say now this whole thing of this extra money, you are questioning it, you are still in the middle, you are paying double the installment and you are at year 2. And you're trying to think, okay, what happened to the extra money? Where is it? You are now ahead, number one, on your home loans. If a situation like this happens, a lockdown, you don't have income, you don't have anything, you can always go back to the bank and say, please, let's use the months I'm ahead with, or let's use the excess bonds to pay so that I can catch up, or so that I can pay for the month that I'm able to pay. Sometimes you're a business person, you can't pay because business is business. Sometimes you simply lose your employment in the midst of it. So when you've got an excess bond, then you can go back to say, because I've paid ahead, now let's use that, which also lowers your risk by far on your home being repossessed. It lowers your risk from you losing your property. It lowers, so there are many other benefits that are above and beyond you just lowering you just finishing paying off quicker and lowering the interest that you are charged. There are other benefits that come with it. And then, of course, the obvious one is that then you get to pay off the home loan quicker. You get to pay off quicker. We've already seen, if you're paying double than you would normally be paying, you are only going to take 6.5 years to finish your bond, not even half the time. And that's the power, that's where you get to discuss the compounding interest working in your favor. Just like when you're in too much debt, compound interest, you feel like you're not finishing, you feel like your debts are not moving. But when it is working in your favor, it is in this instance. This is one of the examples. Because you're paying double, normal logic would say, then I should take half the time. But because you are now compounding on your interest, but on your favor now, therefore you then get to be able to even save a further 3.5 years instead of only the 10 years. Now, it's paid off. And then what? Now the bond is paid off, I'm finished. First thing that I would always recommend, do not cancel the bond. Remember, the bond was the bank attaching their home loan to the house. Don't cancel it. Do not cancel it. We will go into another webinar into detail as to how can you use your paid off property to multiply your wealth faster than most people can do. Second point, honestly, title deeds are seriously overrated. A title deed, the property is registered in your name. So people have this notion, and which I understand, perhaps it's a feeling of security. People have this notion and the feeling that I have to have a title deed in my hand for me to feel safe. But title deeds are overrated when you can use the same property to create many, or to build your portfolio and to have many more other properties, except for a family home, of course, or a home that you do not want to lose. Remember, when we assist you to build a portfolio, we separate it in different segments based on your risk appetite, based on your vision and your plans and your goals going forward. We segmentize it, and which also answers the question that people always ask, which entity do I use? Do I buy in my personal name? Do I buy in a family trust? Do I buy in a business trust? Do I buy in a company? Where do I buy? So we also help you to separate those according to the security, the safety, the risk appetite, and your building going forward. So of course, there will be one or two properties in your portfolio that need a title deed that you want them to be safe, that you don't want to ever take a risk with for the sake of, should I say, security or safety. But title deeds in general, they're seriously overrated. Now, use it to grow your property. Use it, your property portfolio. Use it to grow your property portfolio. Like I said, we will discuss this in a different webinar. It's a webinar on its own on how to use your paid-up property to then pay off, to build your property portfolio. Okay, I think we're still together. So, what is your strategy? What strategy are you going to implement in paying off your home loan when you have it? So what's your strategy? Are you going to pay double the bond that you expected to pay? Are you going to pay double the interest rate that you are being charged? Are you going to pay just the interest rate you are being charged? Are you going to pay half extra on the bond? What is your strategy? We're doing these things to challenge you to action so that you can do something about it and create wealth and build a legacy through property ownership. This is the end of the presentation. Over to you, Metiamo, for the next slot of questions and answers.
Thank you so much, Senator Yabena. I keep learning so much every week on these trainings that you're giving. And I'm sure that everyone who has been joining us for the past 7 weeks have gained a lot of knowledge. So far, I do not have any comments, questions in the comment sections. However, we do have Ngobile, who is asking that she's looking for a listing for a flat in Bloemfontein, but I believe that one of our agents is covering that. But what I do want to highlight, which is what Ngobile asked, is which listing areas do we cover as YDT Group? So I know that we will be talking to her privately, but I just wanted to allow you, Mr. Yabela, an opportunity to also just let everyone know that, because I think it is important. We also have a call from Silo. William, he says that he'll catch the rest of the webinar via YouTube and he will send questions later because
Not a problem.
he work. I also, okay, so I'm going to leave it there because we have another question from Kobisa, but I'm just going to allow you the opportunity to answer Ngobile for now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I was also going to say, just for the sake of allowing follow-up, we can just answer one question at a time. Look, we do not operate, though we are registered estate agents with Estate Agents Affairs Board, but we do not operate in the what I would call typical manner that most agents operate. We do not just say this is what we have, choose what you want and buy. Our mandate is not to sell property. Our mandate is to help you create wealth and build a legacy through property ownership. So we have to talk to you first before we show you which property will suit you. We have to hear your needs. We have to hear your risk appetite. We have to hear your vision, your plans first before we talk to you about the listings we have. So we first go through, so most of the time, in fact, almost every time, when you ask us, what do you have? Even when you ask me personally, what do you have in your stock? We have lots, but I will not say this is what we have a look. I will then ask you questions to engage you to understand so that we recommend. Remember the example I gave, 2 million, 1.2? Because if we had just shown the person what we have, chances are they qualify for 2 million. They would have bought a 5-bedroom house with a swimming pool, big yard space for children, and all those things. But that is not what we are about. We are about helping people create wealth and build legacies through property ownership. So therefore, if we do not have, after we've engaged with you, in our stock what we recommend you get, we do not say, sorry, we do not have, go next door to look for it. We say, no problem, we're looking for something like this. Give us time, we'll get it for you. Then we customize the transaction for you, the exact deal with a lower price, which is what we did with the example I gave earlier on. We looked for exact thing, we got it the proper price, below value, best deal, and that is how we do things. So, and that is what is also allowing us to operate nationally. We do not only operate in Bloemfontein, we operate in the whole country and even outside the country as well, because of the way that we do things. And it is 2020 after all. We do not need to always be next to the person to assist them. All right. I hope that answers. I know I've gone beyond, but I wanted to explain something as well for the sake of people that are watching, because sometimes people don't understand how we work. All right. Thank you. We can move on to the next question if she's happy.
All right. Nobile, you are welcome at this stage to unmute your mic if you would like the answer Mr. Abela gave. Otherwise, we can move forward to the next question. Okay, she's happy. Thank you. She said she's happy.
Thank you.
All right, now the next question comes from Kobisa. Kobisa wants to ask, she has two questions. The first one is, does the bank penalize you for paying the bond off quicker? The second question is one able to choose their own lawyers for bond registration or the transfer of property? Thank you so much, Kobisa, for that question.
All right, I will answer them both. Thank you. The first question, does the bank penalize you? No, they do not necessarily penalize you. They, of course, they're not happy because they were hoping to make the whole interest for the whole 20 years. That's a given one. But what happens is when you then cancel a bond. So in the example I was making, is you are not canceling the bond. Remember, I said I would not recommend that you cancel the bond. When you then cancel the bond, whether you want your title deed back from the bank or you want to sell the property, they then do penalize you for 4 months in advance. It is not necessarily a penalty, more than they are calculating. Remember, when they must give to the transferring attorneys the bond cancellation amount. Now, let's put in an example. Iabela is buying this property from Siamo. Siamo had a bond with Bank X for 1 million. Siamo has to pay off the bank so that the bank can remove the bond that they had on the property over Siamo. I get it, they are going to put another bond when it registered in Iabela's names. So they must remove the bond from Siamo's ownership so that Siamo can sell. Now, what then the transferring attorneys do in that instance? They then ask the bond attorneys that registered that bond 7 years ago when Siamo bought that property. We are requesting bond cancellation figures, meaning how much does Siamo owe on the home loan? How much must she pay so that she can sell this house? Also, their reason for asking that, they also want to be sure that the amount Siamo is selling for is going to at least cover the amount that she owes to Bank X. Now, when the Bank X, previous bank, is releasing those figures to transferring attorneys, ND attorneys, or we most work with ND attorneys, when they send that through, they then calculate 4 months in advance. They take the installments, the monthly installment. Let's say Siamo was paying 9,000. They then take 9,000 multiplied by 4. That multiplied by 4 is in anticipation that it might take 4 months for the transferring process to unfold, meaning to change ownership from Siamo to Iabela. It is not necessary that the bank is penalizing you. If that transfer process finishes within 2 months, the remaining 2 months, they refund you back. Should it happen that they continue to deduct in that 4 months, they also refund that as well. So you'll find that in most instances, then the transferring attorneys will ask your banking details and they will send it over to the bond cancellation attorneys for banking details, so that then Bank X, when they reconcile their books and they see that now the property is registered in Iabela's names, that Siamo's money was paid, what was paid to Bank X and the rest was paid to Siamo as profit. Now they reconcile, they realize, oh yes, Siamo has credit of 24,000, then they pay back to CMO. So that is what most of the time people confuse that as the bank penalizing you for finishing earlier. And then the second question, can you choose your own transferring attorneys? I will tell you what normally happens and what is the legal or what does the law say. It is the seller who has the right to choose the transferring attorneys. It is the bank who has the right to choose the bond attorneys. Both, it is to protect the interests of those parties. So as the purchaser, you have no right in choosing, I'm talking now legally, because the bank wants to protect their interest, they must choose the attorneys that they can trust so that they can register the bond well. The seller must choose the attorney that they are comfortable with so that they can know that their property is in the right hands. Now, what also happens is, in some instances in negotiation, the estate agents then recommend lawyers, because there are sometimes people that can be difficult, that if it's not my lawyer I'm not choosing, then I'm dropping the deal because of their own reasons. So then sometimes the estate agents negotiate with the seller to say, please man, please let's use a neutral, let's use my attorney then as an agent, so that it is not your attorney, it is not the attorney, but legally the one who has the right is the seller. Or sometimes the seller is like, I don't mind, you can choose any attorney, and it ends up being your purchaser's attorney. So it can be negotiated, but if then it comes to a stalemate, the final decision is the seller's decision as to which attorney is going to be used, though you are paying. I hope that answers Kobisa's question.
All right, thank you, Kobisa. Please let us know if you have a follow-up or you're satisfied. All right, Kobisa is quiet, but in the meantime, I'm going to just make everyone aware that the time is now 27 minutes past 1, which means that we have 3 minutes before the session is officially over. However, I do have some questions in the comment sections, and I just want to thank everyone once again at this point for joining us for the past hour. You guys have been great for the past 7 weeks, and we really appreciate you. We hope that you have learned a lot. And when the time hits 1:30, you're more than welcome to leave. But those who would like to stay and find out what the questions are in the comment section and the answers to that, you're more than welcome to stay with us. We will not leave until we have answered every question. Thank you, everyone. So now the comment that I want to read comes from Meta. I hope I'm saying the name right, or Meta. I hope I'm saying it right. Meta is saying that I'm definitely going to apply a strategy to pay off my existing bonds and build my property profile. Meta also said, thank you so much for these webinars. They're very informative, and Meta wishes that he or she could have joined us earlier, but he or she will definitely go to our YouTube channel. So I just said, remember to subscribe when you catch up on previous sessions, please. The next comment comes from Ngobile. She actually has a question. She says, with regards to the cancellation of the bond, I don't understand, or I can't wait. I think it's, I don't understand why you must not cancel your bond. But you did say that you will talk about that on the next webinar. She says that banks were encouraging clients to cancel their bonds. And she also said, thank you for the great session. So I'm going to hand over to you, Mr. Yapela, just to answer Ngobile for us. Thank you.
All right, I'll answer Ngobile. I'll also try to be as quick as possible with my answers so that those who would like to stay don't have to stay longer necessarily. The reason that I'm saying don't cancel the bond, like I said, I will address it in a webinar fully. So I will just answer this, but I don't want to open too many other questions that are leading to the next webinar, because then it will be taken away from today's webinar. Now, the banks are saying cancel because they want to reduce their risk. Remember, a bond is like when it's paid up, it's like an overdraft, like a credit card, like I said. You can use it whenever. So if you have not canceled it and you want to buy another property cash tomorrow, you can just go back. You don't even have to even go to the bank. You go online. If you've got a banker, you go to the banker, you withdraw that money, you go pay the next property cash. That's one of the reasons. So the banks don't want that, because then they've got this X hanging over their head that you might use this and it's staying there, but they're not making money from you. So that's why the banks don't encourage it. They never will encourage it. So it's hanging, it's working against them when you keep it there. So they will not encourage it. So I hope that answers that. But like I said, with other things, I said we will address this in detail in one of the webinars in the future. We can move on to the next question so that we can try to move as fast as we can.
Right, moving on to the next one as fast as we can is Keketo. Keketo is asking, he has two questions. The first one is, buying property through a trust or personal ownership, which one is the best in terms of?
I lost you there. You were saying in terms of, and then I lost you.
Keketo is asking, when it comes to buying property, is it best to buy through a trust or through your own personal ownership? And Keketo is saying that, which one is the best to protect one's legacy?
Okay. Look, a trust is a different entity or a different legal person. So therefore, it is safer because it is away from you. Now, it then depends as to what is your strategy and your plan. Like I said, it falls almost with the same thing that I was saying earlier on about where do we operate. I can say it's the trust, but come to think of it, when we talk, then we realize that no, for you and for the reason you are doing this for, a trust is not the best idea. But in generally speaking, a trust is better because it's a separate entity. They will touch you, but they will not touch it unless they then have to what they call to unveil a trust. That is another discussion altogether. A trust is unveiled when it is proven by the law. Most cases, high court and higher, meaning appeal and supreme and constitutional. When it is then believed and declared that the trust was registered with the intention to hide assets when you're in trouble. But that's a different discussion altogether. Let's not get into it now. Yes, it's a trust that is better, but we'll have to talk to you to understand what is your plan going forward.
Thank you. Keketo, are you happy? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Keketo. He signed that he's happy. All right. The next question is from Lisanda. Okay, no, it's just a comment. He or she is not. Lisanda was saying this is such an informative session. Certainly sounds like foreign language, as so much seems to be understood getting into property. We'll definitely listen to the missed sessions. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lisanda. We also have a comment from Francois. Francois says, hi, Bella. This was my first webinar of YDT Group. I will definitely join in again. Have a great weekend. Okay, thank you, Francois. Thank you. We'll see you next week. We also have Patlolise Tali, who's saying thank you so much for these informative sessions. We also have Bongi Mtimkulu, who is saying thank you for the invite. I'll definitely be back next week. It was very informative. Thank you. All right, thank you, everyone.
Before you release everyone, can I then just address Memita's thing? Because it's one of the things we're trying to do. Yes, the property industry can somehow seem like it's tongues. It can seem like it's many terms, it's too many things that are there, it's too many parties involved. Of course, there's agents, there's banks, and the banks alone have got many things. There's insurance companies, there's life insurance companies, there's many lawyers, there's many people involved. Now, that is why YDT Group was then created, to bring convenience, and so that you deal with only one company. And in most instances, even within YDT, you mostly deal with one person in terms of meeting, except the emails going back and forth. You only deal with one person. And in the process, we also walk a path with our clients. We teach them so that they understand and they can do it themselves in the future. We walk a path with them. Somebody might say it doesn't make business sense. No, it does. Actually, a person that you can tell exactly, a person that has taught you something, you most likely are going to go back to them, even though you can do it yourself. So we teach the people, walk a path with them hand by hand, and we don't do it with anybody else except our client. We don't do it with anybody else except if they pay us, of course, for the consultation. process. But if you're a client, you don't get to pay for that service, because then we're walking you through your own transaction in the whole process, and you get to explain. When we do the next stage, we tell you, what is this for? You have enough time to ask questions. It's not a stranger that now you are uncomfortable to ask questions. You're not sure should be asking these questions. Will I not be looking like I am? You understand? No, it's the same person who then you've been communicating with. You already are friend comfortable with this person. Relationship has been formed. You are now free to ask questions going forward. In some instances, we even go with our clients to go and sign the documents with attorneys, so that if there's anything that they don't understand or they need protection during that process, then we are there to also protect them, assist them, and guide them in the process. So I wanted to quickly address that as well. Now, my last words from me, they call it parting shot. I want to say thank you yet again for tuning in. Thank you also for watching the YouTube channel. Thank you that you've allowed us the opportunity to be able to impart in you, so that you can be able to create wealth and build a legacy through property ownership for your children's children. Now, do share with other people as well, so that they also get to learn this. Whenever you do anything, these webinars are not enough. You still need assistance and the guidance of a professional with you by your side. And we are here with our one-stop shop, with every step, every level, with everything you do, even management after registration of the property. You own it, now you need to put in people to pay rent. We assist you with that. So in this whole process, we are there to help you. But you can also find the nearest person. Of course, I would never invite you to dinner at my family friend house. I'll invite you to my own house. So thank you for tuning in. And stay blessed. Do join us next week. Every week is a different topic, so do join us next week. Stay blessed. Siamo, the picture, are you taking it today?
Yes, please. That's actually what I wanted to ask now next. Before I take the picture, okay, now first, everyone, can I please, with your permission, ask you to please switch on your videos so that we can just take a group picture together. There we go. Thank you. I'm seeing so many people that I recognize. It's so great to have your support. Thank you so much, everyone. While we do that, I also want to acknowledge Nozi Potlali Attorneys, who has been in attendance with us today. Nozi Potlali Attorneys is one of the companies that are under YDT Group, and we just want to acknowledge them. They're represented today by Nozi Potlali. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Hey, smile.
I also wanted to just let everyone know that this picture will most likely land on social media. So just know that. And when you switch on your video, it means that you're giving us permission to show your face on social media.
We do hope that you guys are willing to pay.
No lawsuits.
Okay, everyone, just say 2020 for me.
2020.
Okay, please hold that smile. I'm gonna go into the next section. Say 2020 again.
My cheeks are tired.
2020. YGT. I'm sure this takes off 1% of the commission fee.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. It was my
Thank
first.
You.
I appreciate so much, Mr. Ladi, and hope to join you again next week. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Keketso. Thank you, everyone. You can leave. Hi, Lisanda. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.